Ladies and gentlemen, before we kickstart this incredibly delayed Zuffa product review, let's just take a minute to thank our sponsors, Crush. Remember, the difference is drinkability. Pick it up at your local CVS pharmacy. Alright, now let's talk about UFC 129, George St-Pierre versus Jake Shields. Well, I'm going to give you my thoughts about the main event first. From the top, of course. About what I thought about it in just one action. What makes a George St-Pierre such a great fighter to me is that he is willing to travel the globe. He is willing to perfect his skills. He will go to England to train with Freddie Roach. He'll go to New York to train with Henzo Gracie and Roger Gracie to perfect his jiu-jitsu. He got the black belt there. He's always willing to go somewhere and learn something new. And his stand-up and his skill set were so much better than Jake Shields' that night, and this was the type of performance that George St-Pierre wanted to put on. Yet it's good that he got the win, and in the end, that's what the champion wanted. That's what I predicted. I predicted that this would go the distance or get stopped by the doctor. It didn't. Jake Shields didn't look anywhere near as bad as Josh Koscheck did. But in the end, I ended up being a bit disappointed. It was kind of an underwhelming main event to an otherwise stellar card. We'll talk about the rest after this, but Jake Shields' stand-up is not very good at all. And somehow he was still able to get through all of the great training that St-Pierre had and bust up St-Pierre's left eye and make it so that he had problems seeing in it. And now we're only finding out that St-Pierre is like do not worry, it is all very fixed, and that I will be back in the cage to defend my title and all that stuff, so yeah. And St-Pierre the fight was not that interesting. Jake Shields only went for maybe 2 or 3 takedowns the entire fight. There was no sense of urgency for him to try to win it and by submission or get it down, and all St-Pierre had to do to shrug Jake Shields off was to just hop on one foot and push him away. Yeah, Jake Shields just does not have the skill set to be the welterweight champ in the UFC. Simple as that. I expected more aggressiveness from St-Pierre. I expected him to strike more often on the feet, other than just occasionally throwing a jab followed by a weird overhand right that didn't look like it had a whole lot of power behind it, although he did drop Jake Shields a couple times. Like I said, the only really bad fight of the card. So let's move on. The fight of the night performance against Jose Aldo versus Mark freaking Hominick. Oh my gosh. In a fight in which I picked Mark Hominick to not be that much of competition against the best featherweight in the world, man was I mistaken about that. That first round for Jose Aldo, he showed great head movement, great timing, footwork, power, and he dropped Hominick several times, but through all of his masterful movements by Aldo, Hominick was still able to hit him several times and able to work through all the nasty leg kicks he was landing. And I only had Hominick winning the last round, but eventually you all know how it looked. He ended up kind of looking like a Frankenstein monster with a huge hematoma on his head and getting cut underneath both eyes. I was surprised that the fight wasn't stopped when the doctor went in there and checked on him. But in the end, it was almost as if Mark Hominick was the real winner. Really gutsy performance by him. He showed a lot of heart, a lot of determination, and some good strikes too. He really earned that title shot and showed why is a pretty high-level guy. Jose Aldo, other than him slowly fading as the fight went on and gassing. He did look good. Hominick showed very few little takedown defense, and Aldo kept on going within, kept up the pressure, kept on going for the takedowns. He, the way he was moving, it was really something. They need to give Jose Aldo a break and not put him on the Rio card after this. Just let him rest up, and hopefully in his next fight he'll knock someone out with another double flying knee. So, Dana White, I think on Twitter or on a blog, posted that he was confused as to why Jose Aldo never pulled the trigger, and he did drop him a few times and really tried to finish, although Hominick is a tough guy to finish. Even though he has been, he showed it really right here. And, the hometown crowd was loving him. So, really a good fight. What's next for Jose Aldo? People are saying Chad Mendes, and I think he's only won one fight in the UFC. Let me see. Bear with me here. That was at UFC 126, which that finally arrived on DVD. Yeah, he beat Michihiro Omagawa. Chad Mendes did at UFC 129. He is undefeated, 10-0, and he had a fairly good run in the WEC. Went like 4-0. Okay, now, moving on. Oh man, the karate master is back. Lyoto Machida, great job, man. You really did your thing. You look great, and this was. Even though Randy Couture lost in devastating fashion like this, I was glad to see Machida finally get a really good win in front of such a huge crowd and in front of such an impressive-looking stadium. The Rogers Centre in Toronto, Canada. Is that what that was? Yeah. But the best thing about Machida's performance, I think, was it looked like that he was really having fun out there. He was light on his feet, moving, kept his hands kind of low, because he knew that Randy wasn't going to knock him out. He looked really on the mark, and his takedown defense was great. He looked strong, fast, powerful, and just, in the second round, went out there, had the hands up high, and faked one kick, and just landed that front kick right to Randy Couture's face, although I wish that I didn't want Randy Couture to lose a tooth, so that's a shame, but great win for Machida. Maybe next give him Vladimir Matyushenko. Now let's move on to the next bout. So, yeah, as for Randy Couture, yeah, hell of a career, man. You've already left your mark in MMA and the UFC as well, so, make Expendables 2, like I said, so it was a great run. It was nice to see it one more time, and if you're gonna go out like that. And alright. Vladimir Matyushenko versus Jason Brills. This fight, I think, was expected by many to be the most boring fight of the night, but there wasn't much to it. Only 20 seconds, one uppercut, and one left hook, I think, and that was pretty much it. Jason Brills was out for at least 2 seconds or so, and Matyushenko gets a good win. The, Valerius. He's, I think, yeah, he also beat Alexander Ferreira back at UFC 122, Marquardt versus Okami. Decent one right there. And so maybe match him up with Machida. I don't know if I'd pick him there, but alright, moving on. Okay, Ben Henderson did what I thought he was going to do, and avoid Mark Bocek's submission game into getting a unanimous decision victory. Bocek looked really good. He showed great dexterity and aggressiveness as well, especially in the third round. And Rory McDonald looked impressive against Nick Diaz with all those suplexes. Ellenberger got the knockout. Most of these fights were finished except for maybe like 4 of them. Claude Patrick now 3-0. Good win over Daniel Roberts by decision again. So That's good. Maybe, hopefully Claude Patrick will get the main card in his next event. Ivan Menenvar defeated Charlie Valencia. Really good card. The other highlight of that was John McDessie throwing an awesome spinning back fist, knocking out Kyle Watson in round 3, in which I saw that fight live on Facebook. So, you know he's got to be really disappointed that he did not end up getting the knockout of the night bonus. So, and as for Ryan Jensen, he's also cut by the UFC after getting triangle choked out by Jason McDonald. So, and congratulations to Pablo Garza for getting the choke on Eve Yabun on the very first fight. Great card. I'm probably going to get it on DVD when it comes out. So, next up we got Edgar vs. Maynard 3. Keep it real, guys. Be cool, stay in school, and say no to drugs.